everyone. Thank you and welcome to a special episode of the Smite Update. We're going to go ahead and do an interview with an up-and-coming team, definitely one of the top high-caliber teams in the world right now, Exertus eSports. And we have two gentlemen joining me today, Barracuda and UWONT. How's it going, guys?
Pretty awesome. How about you, man?
Going good.
It's going good. Well, thank you for joining me. Guys, I have a preset amount of questions to ask these gentlemen today. Kind of allow them to prepare for them a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but some good questions that maybe the community was wondering about. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. For community members that don't know, who is Barracuda and UWONT, and what is your involvement right now in the Smite community?
I've been playing it for about a year now, and I started streaming a couple of months ago, so some people might know it from that. But only had like 10 viewers back then, so like right now I'm just kind of becoming, I guess, professional player in the Smite community.
Sure. And what about you, UWONT?
Yeah, I've also been playing for a little over a year, and you know, just through making friends, playing the game, I came across these guys, and we started playing a lot together. And when we made the team, it was just really fun, and we just kept with it.
All right, awesome. So jumping back, were you guys always into video games as a kid? And if so, what type of games did you play over the years? And did you ever get competitive, like join the competitive scene in any of those games? We'll start out with UWONT.
Yeah, I have been playing video games ever since I was a kid, mostly console. I think I got my webcam working.
Nice.
But no, this is my first PC game that I've ever played, really.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and I have not been competitive in any other games, so it's really exciting. You know, I love Smite, and it's awesome to be playing competitive, and I love our team. It's just a bunch of great guys.
So I gotta ask, what made you move over to the PC kind of scene? I mean, what pulled you in? Because to me, I'm always like a console hater. I'm like, yeah, PC is where it's at. What kind of pulled you in? Was it Smite, or what friends, or what did it for you?
Yeah, it was friends. It was friends. A lot of my friends were converting from the console into, you know, PCs. And once I got my PC, we were just dabbling around in games here and there. And then my buddy, you know, got me into Smite with a free beta key, and I've been playing it ever since.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you came over. We converted you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barracuda, what about you? What games did you play, and were any of them competitive?
I played a lot of the Mario games when I was younger.
Okay.
I pretty much grew up on the Nintendo 64 and like DOS games because we had a really old PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been playing games ever since I was probably 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
And I got into competitive Savage. I don't know if anyone knows what that was. It was called Savage: The Battle for New Earth. It was like this game that came out in 2000 or so, and I had one of the top teams on that. But it was also a very small game.
Okay.
And then from there, I went on to Halo, and I competed at MLG Columbus in 2012 with a couple teammates.
Sweet.
And we didn't do it.
I was there, dude. I was there.
I know. We talked about this, dude. It was sick. We just kind of choked at the tournament.
Okay.
And since then, after Halo, I kind of took a break from gaming, and I picked up Smite last year. And the more I played it, the more I enjoyed it, and I wanted to grow in the competitive scene.
Mm-hmm.
And once the weekly tournaments came out, I was like, I have to make a team. Like, this game's too much fun to not go into it competitively.
Sure, definitely. Pretty sweet, actually. Really happy to hear that. So which version of Halo did you play competitively? Was the first one, second one?
I always went to LANs with my friends. Like, I had a group of about 8 or so friends. We would LAN every weekend, and I actually played Halo 3 game battles and Halo 2 game battles a lot. And then once Halo Reach came out, I kind of got a team that was good enough that I thought we could do well at an event, and so I decided to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said your team choked a little bit. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, a LAN event and playing at home in your exact comfort zone, two different things. So
definitely.
I could completely understand it. I mean, some people, I used to follow the StarCraft 2 scene a lot. Some people in the StarCraft 2 scene will say, like, pro players, they're like, the LAN events I perform this well in, but at home I only perform this well. So it's like two different types of mindsets when you're in front of those types of people. So I completely understand.
It was a whole new ball game. The sound, the noise level was so huge. Like, I couldn't hear my teammates, and they were right next to me, and we were all like screaming. And it was so hard because you're next to hundreds of people, and whenever someone does something sick or nasty, like everyone just yells, so you can barely hear callouts, like you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
And I like lost my voice by the end of that tournament.
I
It
assume
was
you
sick.
weren't on like a main stage with like the sound booth
No.
and stuff. You were within the player pit style,
Yeah.
directly across. Yeah, I can understand that. Moving on, we'll start out with you won't with this question. And you kind of answered it a little bit, but prior to committing to Smite, have you played any other MOBAs? Or let's go ahead and branch that into, have you played any of the other MOBAs now that you got into Smite with Dota or League of Legends or Dawngate, any of those? Or have you been like locked into Smite regardless?
Yeah, I've pretty much been locked into Smite. My PC gamer friends, they have played LoL, and I watched them play LoL, and I thought it was a really cool concept, a really cool game. And when I got my PC, it was real short after that I got the PC that I got the Smite beta key. So I didn't really branch out into any of the other MOBAs before Smite picked me up, and I'm glad that I got Smite first, to be honest.
Okay. And Barracuda, what about you?
I played League of Legends until about level 10 or so, and I decided I hated the game too much to continue playing it, so I haven't played any other MOBAs besides Smite, really.
Okay, good to know. And we'll go ahead and go right with Barracuda for this next question here. Can you tell us about, if you remember, the first time you played Smite, and what attracted you the most that pulled you in?
I want to say it was Ymir or Wukong,
Okay.
and because I was always interested in being a tank and just kind of being the front line guy, and I really enjoyed the third-person aspect of it, and I was able to follow skills and abilities a lot easier in this game than I am in League of Legends. Because in League of Legends, like the top-down view, I just see stuff flying everywhere, and for a new player, I didn't want to put that much time into the game. But in Smite, you can see the people casting the spells or the abilities directly in front of you. So I was able to pick up this game a lot easier, and I've always been a fan of outplaying people and doing ridiculous stuff. And in Smite, since the player's directly in front of you and you can just see them strafing back and forth, like especially in AD carry battles, like it's amazing to outplay somebody in an AD carry battle. So that aspect of it really brought me into the game.
Yeah, that reward when you go ahead and beat somebody like one-on-one, you're both below like 10%, the next ability that hit wins it, and you hit it, and it's like the best feeling in the world to be like, yes, I'm the best in the world right now. Like, I completely understand that. What about... Go ahead.
Oh, that's what I loved about Halo, just like when you're one shot and just four shotting the other guy, especially in Halo 3, that was... You get that same feeling in Smite, just the factor of outplaying people.
Sure. And we'll jump over to you, Walt. Tell us about your first time playing Smite, if you remember, and what attracted you into the game.
Well, the attraction was my best friend I was living with at the time who gave me the beta key. He got me in the game, and I was like watching him play it a couple of nights, and I was like, dude, this game looks awesome. And so when I started, we start out with the normal Ymir, Artemis characters, and once I actually got in the game, kind of like what Barra said, just that up close and personal reality, and you see the other player, you can see what they're doing, you can try to like outwit them. That was just really cool to me, and just stuck with it,
Okay, good to know. And we'll stick with you, Walt, here on our next question. What do you feel keeps bringing people back to Smite that no other game can offer right now within we'll say the MOBA scene at this point?
Well, I think, being a Smite player from over a year ago, just watching the game grow and expand, it's really interesting to see how these patches change weekly tournaments and the new gods coming out and just everything new. I'm really excited for any new content, and it just keeps bringing it in. Hi-Rez, they keep twerking things, they keep,
twerking is a very good word. Trust me, there's a lot of twerking going on over there.
Especially with Allied.
But well, I meant to say, like, the littlest tweaks on some characters makes them more viable, and likewise on the opposite end, sometimes they become less viable, and those changes and how we work them into competitive gameplay is really exciting.
And Barracuda, what about you? What do you think brings people back to this game time and time again?
I think it's the third-person aspect of it and the fact that it's a MOBA. People love MOBAs now. That's like the next big thing. Like, RTS games were a thing for a long time with StarCraft 1, and now I feel like MOBAs are the new, or not really the new form of gaming, but I feel like no other company does a third-person MOBA as well as
Sure.
Hi-Rez does.
Sure.
And the fact that they keep polishing the game, making it look better, the patches, most of the time they fix the balancing issues, so it's just a really enjoyable game to play and to be competitive at.
Sure, sure. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and throw this back to Barracuda here. How did you originally, like when you said you first got into Smite and you first got into the competitive scene, who was your first team, and I guess what teams did you guys go through in order to get to where we're at right now? And so we'll throw it to Barracuda first.
Oh, man.
If you remember. If you remember.
I've been playing since July,
Okay.
I think, of last year.
Okay.
And I honestly want to say that team with you.
Team Nemesis?
That first casual team that we
right.
got destroyed in that tournament.
That
I think that was the first
WOGL. Or no, yeah, Woggle. Yeah, it was Woggle. Season 1.
one of those tournaments, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, man, I thought I was gonna play so much better than I did. I just got destroyed in that game. And then from there, I got invited to team with UWONT, Moke, and NJ Nick, and then I think it was Luck You at the time.
Okay.
And that team, I don't think we really did that much for that team, especially Luck You. We had some issues with Luck You, so we went with Heater.
Okay.
And then NJ Nick decided to get picked up by Snipe Gaming.
Okay.
So our team kind of fell apart there. And then I made a team. I went to Georgia Tech Game Fest last year and met Shinobi.
Okay.
And he was on Omega Gaming at the time. So then I was like, I've got this good group of players, like me, UWONT, Moke, and Heater. And then he's got all the Omega crew, like Shinobi, Janen, Sazlik, and a couple of other players. So we decided to make this team called Visceral Pandas.
Okay.
And that team didn't really go anywhere. So I kind of wanted something more competitive than that. So me and Heater started looking at other players and other free agents. And we decided to pick up Andenster. That's kind of how Vicious and Delicious started.
Yep.
And then we picked up UWONT. And then we went through Wigbeaner and Sazlik, and then we finally stuck with Eonic for our support.
Okay. Okay. And was yours very similar? UWONT? Was that what did you come in at the exact point that he said you got introduced, or were you on teams previously?
No, I wasn't on any teams trying to make anything happen, really.
Okay.
It was mostly just, casual games with friends. And
Sure.
like I said, the friends group base started expanding, and I started meeting more people, and we just started playing with different people. And pretty much, yeah, when me and Bear got hooked up, we definitely recognized the level of play. Bear is like superb player, and really liked playing with him. And when I got invited to the team that he was making with Heater, it was awesome.
So I have to ask, where did the name Vicious and Delicious come from? Because it was quite unique, and I was casting a 3vs3 tournament for Smite Tube, and I saw a few of you guys playing in it, and I'm like, what is this name? Where do these people come up with these names? So where's it from?
To be honest, no one on the team came up with it. It was one of our friends, Scotty L. He was on Backfire for a while. A couple of people in the community probably know him. And he was like, you guys should just make this team called Vicious and Delicious. So we were like, all right, we're a new team. We don't want to put out a big team name or like a cool team name and then go to a tournament and get wrecked. So we were like, if we come up with a troll name or go with a troll name into a tournament and we get wrecked, it won't really be a big deal. It'd be like the Vicious and Delicious lost to Dignitas. Like, no big deal, So we kind of went with a more troll name than a serious name.
Okay. And either one of you guys could take this, whoever who wants to get on it. So can you guys tell us about the move from Vicious and Delicious to Exertus eSports? What prompted you and your teammates to move from one to the other? What was there a big discussion? What kind of did it? Was it sponsors? Was it money? Was it exposure? Were there other teams looking at you at the time? I mean, because at that time, I remember you guys were doing very, very well in the scene, and you guys stuck out very well. So yeah. You guys could both take it. One of you guys could take it. Tell us a little bit about that transition and things that were involved.
Salson, I think, hooked us up with... It was Salson or Bart.
Okay.
Hooked us up with Exertus eSports. And I got to looking at their website, and they seemed to have everything well put together. They seemed to be like a really good sponsor. And we joined their TeamSpeak that night, and I really enjoy talking to the guys. Mad Dog, the CEO, is a really cool guy. He's 24 years old. And he's just a really down to earth guy.
Sure.
And that's what I wanted from a sponsor. I didn't want like a boss setting. I wanted someone you could talk to about teammates or talk to about the future of the sponsor. Just someone you can have a nice conversation with and just kind of relate to. And he's that guy. He's a really chill guy. So he's kind of the main person for me that attracted me to Exertus eSports.
Okay. And you won't anything to add in there that kind of you can add to this type of transition that you guys made?
Yeah. I think we did, group up as a team and talk about it. We had a previous sponsorship offer when we were playing in the weekly tournaments by Mortality Gaming, and we kind of felt it was, it was a little too, like, I don't know how to say it, maybe serious is a bad word, but we really like how Exertus was really laid back, really casual with us, taking things slow, just exposing them to us and us to them, and it just worked out for the best, we think.
Sure. Well, it's awesome that you guys had options. I mean, not a lot of teams can say that. You guys are kind of put in a unique situation. So that's really, really great to see that you guys actually had that opportunity to go, okay, who do we want to go with? Why do you want to go with them? And it's really, really happy to hear that. And hopefully things grow with you guys as Exertus grows from there. I'll go ahead and throw this back to you, Walt. As the scene develops, do you feel player contracts will start to become the norm? Most teams now have player contracts that are involved. Do you think this is necessary? Do you think it's the norm? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think that that would come as Smite expands. It could become more of a desire for players to get sponsored, get those contracts, and I think it's an awesome thing. I would love to get a salary for playing video games or something like that. Sure. I think I have high hopes for Smite. I think it's gonna get big, and I want to be there when it does. So.
Awesome, very good point. And I'll throw it over to Barracuda as well. Do you feel that player contracts are a necessity? Is it a norm? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a necessity if the company wants the esports to join or to get bigger. And I think the contract form of it makes it a lot more professional. So players I don't know if you follow the Halo scene at all. But players hop teams frequently in the Halo scene.
Sure. And
this kind of binds teams together. It binds you to the game. So it kind of forces you to look at it as a business a business perspective instead of just like a competitive game. It makes it to where, like you was saying, you can get salaries for this. You can go professional in this, and it can be recognized.
Sure.
And it makes it a lot more serious.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand from the team hopping perspective. We saw a lot of that going back quite a few months ago. I mean, you saw people team hopping once a month. It was like, oh, who's doing the best? Okay, let's hop to them. And it was like, seriously, there's like 4 different teams. All of you guys played on every one of those teams within like a 3-month period because people were just hopped all over the place. So I completely understand. I think it's great for the scene. It locks people in. It actually adds that business atmosphere to it. It makes it a little bit more serious to know, hey, I'm locked in. Some player contracts are for 3 months. Some are 6. Some are a year. But really cool to see that. I'll throw this back to Barracuda here. Currently, you're a member of Exertus eSports. What responsibilities and roles do you hold specifically on the team?
Me and Andenster kind of share this shot calling during tournaments and during scrims, and a lot of times in team fights, one person cannot see the best target. It's really hard. So with me and Andenster, we work extremely well together to call target. We didn't really do it that well this weekend, sadly, against Denial. Denial is a really crazy team in team fights, but and I'm the AD carry on the team. Okay. And I lane with Ionic.
Okay. And you, Walt, what about you?
Yeah, I'm a Exertus mid player, and as far as gameplay goes, I try to follow up on the calls, see if I can rotate to a lane if it's getting pushed, if they need help, where I can come in and try to just coordinate things with Enster pretty much, because right now kind of the meta is, jungling and mid harpies, trying to farm experience, especially now that, kills are kind of less of a priority. You want to try to win lane, you want to try to gain experience more so. So it's pretty much just come to that, working well with the team, working well with the jungler, trying to follow up on shot calls and seeing where I can rotate and help out.
Very good, very good. Much more of an explanation than I even thought about. So it's cool to see, when asked, pro players like yourself, what are your responsibilities in game and on the team? How well you guys explain that. It's great. I'll throw this back to you, Won't. Recently, Hi-Rez introduced the League system. What are your thoughts on this system, and what would you like to see changed with the system for the future?
It's rough right now, man. I haven't played too much of the League. I think I have like a little over 10 games total played, but hopefully it gets better. I kind of think right now it's like I said, it's rough. Everyone was reset to one level, so you're getting placed up against people that are still learning, people that just hit level 30, and it's hard sometimes. But you just gotta put on those carry pants and try to get the W. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to see if they can tweak it, make it a little better. Looking forward to the top tiers, like getting past bronze and seeing what kind of gameplay ranked has to offer once you get past like this whole beginning reset phase.
Yeah, it looks like that it'll take some time. It might take a few seasons. I think there's 4 days left in this current season, and then the top 20% of the bronze, which everyone's in bronze, will get moved up to silver, I assume. And then it'll kind of rinse and repeat until we can fully get the all the brackets filled. But once they do get filled, it'll be pretty cool, because then you'll actually have like, okay, you're a diamond player or you're a silver player. So it'll be cool to see that. I'll throw it back to Barracuda. Barracuda, what are your thoughts on the current league system, and is there anything specifically that you'd like to see changed?
Definitely the beginning is pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. I lost so many games in the beginning, and it's the resets are really rough. I guess next time they do a hard reset, I'd prefer it if they kind of like separated the elos to where you're not playing just with the bottom of the barrel people. I mean, no offense to anyone that's down there, but it's really hard because I did 64,000 player damage in a game with Artemis, and I went mad positive, and we still lost the game.
Sure.
And to me, there should definitely be a divider between ranked and casual games, because casual games don't matter. I mean, you can do that in a casual game. You can carry as hard as you possibly can. You can still lose the game. But to me, ranked should be more serious, and there should be a bigger divide on flat resets.
So do you think that they put a prerequisite of like 12 gods being mastered? Do you think that's not enough, or do you think there's a better way to a prereq that should be more than that at this point?
I think the prereq should be the elo from your last season, or the last segment of the reset, because they've reset us a couple times now, and honestly, mastery levels don't really matter to me. It's like Call of Duty. Like, you can play the game a lot, and you can go through the prestiges, but if you're bad at the game, you're bad at the game.
Sure.
It doesn't really matter how much you play the game.
Sure.
I think if they divided it by role as well, that'd be really interesting if they could do that. Like, at the top tier players, like, have a player that mostly plays AD carries, have a player that mostly plays mid gods, have a player that mostly plays junglers, and et cetera, on each team. I don't know if the community is big enough for that yet. But if they could somehow get that divider to where they have a player of each role, so that way you don't have to go into ranked with several roles you're good at, because I'm not good at anything but AD carry. So it's a good thing that I'm recognized now, because back in the day when I was playing ranked and I had to go mid or I had to go support, it was rough. I'm a terrible support. I don't know how Yannick does it. But yeah, if they could tweak it or twerk it, make it work, that'd be amazing.
You won't any last comments about league system?
No, pretty much just waiting to see how it evolves. Like we both said, it's rough right now having that hard reset, but just giving it some time. I think after the season ends, I'd be very interested to see, like, if I get into silver, I'll have to play some more, but how those like silver like league tiers set up games that way too. So
sure. Sure. No, very good point. That'll be eager to see. We're all interested. 5 days from now, we'll be jumping into League again, but you're going to have two separate leagues. You're going to have Silver and Bronze, and I'll be interested to see. You guys might jump into it. Most likely you guys are in Silver, and you'll go, okay, these are with the other 20% that are very, very good at this game, and, you might ride it out with those same players for the next several weeks or months until everything gets balanced out. So it's interesting because in a lot of other games, like I come from StarCraft 2, you do like 5 games and boom, you're put into a league, and then you got to battle your way through it. Where at this, it's interesting. It's pretty cool to be part of a game where the league system is just being introduced, where like we're all thrown into one league, and then we're going to be split into 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. So pretty neat there. I'll throw this question back to you, Won't. Looking at the current state of Smite, what do you feel needs to be changed and/or completed before you think Hi-Rez can release this game?
That's a tough one. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I think, I've heard a lot of people say, in comparison to LoL, how having like patches just focus on optimization, so I guess the game like runs smoother or something. It runs okay for me,
Sure.
But I think just small polishing like that. I'd love to see a bigger god base, trying to balance out some gods that might need a little fixing. But just pretty much, just the cherry on top on a lot of things could really help this game.
Okay. And Barracuda, same question to you. What do you think Hi-Rez needs to do to get this game out the door?
I feel like it's not as balanced as it should be. Like, Zong is still ridiculous in any role. Like, he can literally play any role and be good at it. And Sun Wukong is also extremely strong. Once people start learning how Sun Wukong works, he's kind of like Thanatos. A lot of people thought Thanatos was bad. And then Pon pulled it out this weekend and just destroyed every team with it.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of balancing issues, and the actives need to work better. I can't tell you how many times I pressed beads as I get stunned or right before I get stunned. My beads don't go off. Okay. Especially when there's money on the line. I feel like the active should work perfectly. I know it's a beta. Like everyone has been saying that for the past year. It's a beta. Like it'll be fixed, and no doubt Hi-Rez is going to fix everything before the release. Sure. But beads is a big issue for me. I don't know why. I don't know if other players relate, but especially on AD carry, if you get CC'd, you die. Yeah. And mid players as well. I just think if you're spamming the F key, which is my beads, I should not be able to get CC'd, and because as I get Ymir frozen, or as like a Guan will hit me with an ult, my beads won't go off. So I don't know if it's just my game, but it's a really big issue for me. I've died several times just because my bead's not going off in time.
Hey, it's just your computer. Come on now, man.
It probably is. It's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool because we see a lot of publishers out there rush to get a game out, and then they go ahead and work on fixing and taking care of any bug adjustments, at the very end of their beta or in the introduction of the game. Whereas we see Hi-Rez actually almost taking a page out of Blizzard's book, where they're polishing the game as much as possible, but they're also coming out with new content at the exact same time. So some people argue this is going to be a beta as long as Dota. We'll kind of have to see. Hopefully not, because I think everyone's ready for the game to be launched. It's just, it's on Hi-Rez this time, so completely understandable. Let's go ahead and jump over to You Won't. We have about 2 questions left here. Question: within the next few days, we will see Tencent introduce Smite beta into the Asian market. Do you feel this will change the meta in any way for the EU or NA scene? What do you feel the Asian culture will bring to Smite?
Well, yeah, that's a tough one, because there are big differences between EU and NA. Most recently, as far as the team being on the NA side of the game, we don't focus too much on what the EU teams are doing. We're trying to analyze our competition, what we can do better, what we think we can work into our gameplay. But with the COG tournament coming up, being mixed with NA and EU, we have started looking at the EU teams and seeing what they do, seeing what they ban. So I just think it's just going to add another dynamic to Smite, having a whole nother mind, pretty much, just create new things, and I think it's going to be an overall good thing.
And Barracuda, I'll throw the same question to you. What are your thoughts?
I'm scared, to be honest.
You should be, sir.
I am extremely terrified because they're amazing at video games. Asians have proven. No, I'm not like trying to be racist by any means, but they are so much better than us at video games, and they've kind of proven it in League of Legends. Like,
sure.
They're just blowing the North American scene out of the water, pretty much. Like, they're just destroying us, and I feel like a lot of the Chinese teams in League can play a lot of gods in various roles, and as much as they study the game and study the aspects of it and study other teams, they're gonna be so much more prepared for a LAN event than we will be. If we are doing it like we are now. I think if the American teams and the European teams don't prepare for a big tournament, the Chinese teams will just destroy us. And I'm honestly terrified of Chinese teams at a LAN event.
Sure. Well, completely understandable. I mean, the thing is, and people don't realize in like the North America or even in EU sometimes, they're like, oh, it's a video game. Well, you have to remember the culture over in the Korean and Chinese market is that, is that, you know, they take it so seriously where the players are viewed as sports stars, as like NFL players or soccer players or football, I guess, for EU side, are viewed. And so imagine it like that. So these teams have personal trainers. They have mathematicians on board, you know, figuring out the best keystrokes, you know, what's going to do the most damage, you know, what items to build. And then they go ahead and they pop up team houses like they're nothing in places like Korea and China. And these players play, you know, they don't play casually and start out like we would, like, oh, okay, we play 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, or I play after work or school. These guys pop out and they go ahead and play 12 hours a day. They have a set eating schedule. They have a set, you know, gym schedule, everything. And it's something different there. Video games are viewed in a completely different manner. So I completely agree with you. Like, it's something scary, but it's going to make you guys and the EU scene step up your game tremendously in order to compete with the Asian market.
Like, I feel if they came in right now and had a month to prepare, they would be beating some of the top North American and European teams right now. Because they prepare and practice so much harder than we do and study so much harder than we do. So we're really going to have to step up our game if we want to compete with them at a LAN event. Yeah.
Any last comments you want to make, you won't?
No, I think that pretty much wraps it up for me.
All right, great. Let's take a last question here. We'll throw it over to you, Walt, and then we'll go over to Barracuda. Looking to the future, we have Hi-Rez Studios' $100,000 tournament, where we will have NA, EU, and hopefully the Asian market combined in a giant LAN event. That's what we're all hoping for. We don't have a lot of news. It's just speculation. What are your thoughts on all the scenes coming together to finally crown the best team in the world?
I think it's definitely exciting, you know. Like I said, with this new COG tournament coming up, and they're mixing NA with EU, and I'm pretty sure that's like the first time it's been done before on a competitive, you know, scale.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's just going to add a big dynamic to the game, much more competition, and going to make our teams, these NA teams, the EU teams, everyone work a lot harder to try to polish anything that they can.
Okay. And what about you, Barracuda? What are your thoughts on the $100,000 possibly all-region LAN event?
We're going to be studying a lot of gameplay. And we're going to be doing the math. We're going to be pawning it out for a while and experimenting with a lot of new gods. Because right now I play like 2 gods in every tournament. Like Apollo and Neith. But I feel like the Chinese teams or Asian teams will bring out like a Cupid Ares lane or something along those lines, just something that will devastate laning phase. And especially with new gods coming out, like Sun Wukong and Zhongqi, and Mercury, like extremely powerful gods that have to be banned or you have to counter them. Like, my team hasn't found a counter to Zong yet, and it's painful. And we're just going to be studying a lot more and practicing so much harder than we do now. For LAN events.
Very true. Any last comments about the $100,000 possible LAN event?
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be
That's
cool.
a lot of money.
That's right. That's right. Hey, I'm ready to buy my plane ticket. Just let me know when. Just let me know when.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I'm very happy to be able to highlight you guys. You guys are one of the top tier teams out there right now. You guys should be very proud of yourselves. Before we go ahead and head out, where can people find you? I know Barracuda, you said you're starting to stream more and more. Please go ahead and promote any social media outlets that you guys would like to.
Everyone just follow my Twitch. It's twitch.tv Barracuda, and I'll be streaming most likely on most nights now. And my Twitter is XGS Barracuda.
Okay, awesome. And what about you? You won't?
Yeah, hopefully I'll be streaming soon. I currently don't have the hardware right now to stream, but I am looking into that. So once I get that up, just going to be streaming like other teammates, and I just recently made a Twitter, and that's XCS_UWONT. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Please make sure, guys, if you are interested in additional interviews, please go over to youtube.com/TheSmiteUpdate, where you can go ahead and check out. We have an interview with Hi-Rez COO Todd Harris. We have an interview with a very well-known individual on this channel, Bart. And then we also have an interview with Ependary from Mortality Esports, along with several other Smite podcast shows as well, Smite Talk, and also the Smite Update. Once again, my name is OctanePro. I will be continuing tonight's stream on Smite Game till about 10 o'clock, doing viewer games with an 800 gem code giveaway just before 10 o'clock p.m. Give me about 5 minutes, a little less, guys, and I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in.